Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the platform. Next to me, I have Nomsa, and she's here to tell us a bit about, the DStv Mzansi Viewers. I feel like it's a tongue twister. It's DStv Mzansi Viewers Choice Awards. So she's one
Let's
of
go DMVCA.
DMVCA.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. But before we get into that, Nomsa, how are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Can you just tell us about yourself and tell us about what you do?
So, my name is Nomsa Philiso. I'm the group executive head for programming for the Multichoice group, so both South Africa and the rest of Africa. So, my job essentially involves making sure that we continue to tell the right content, making sure that we bring up people that have not yet really made it. So it's a balancing act in terms of what works and what are we developing to make sure that the industry sustains.
Interesting job. Like, what's a day like for you? When you work. Like, I'm always interested in learning about behind the scenes.
So my typical day, it depends, right? So in a month, I have about 3 days that I dedicate to pitches, right? So my team, essentially, what they do, we have got a submission portal in MultiChoice. They go through the portal and they identify potential ideas that we can look at, and they start to work at it and craft it to say, okay, we think this can fit that particular slot, because we have to think about all of our channels where one particular program is going to go. So if they think, okay, we've had this program for too long, maybe we need a refresher. So they package that, and then when they are confident that it is an idea that can be executed, then they bring it to me, and then I have to listen to all of those and then decide which ones we go for depending on how much money we have. And it's always a different thing, whether it's a CakeNet, whether it's Mnet, whether it's Africa Magic, whether it's Maisha Magic, or Zambezi. So, yeah, so I look at those things. And then on the other days when there isn't pitches as such, it's really about understanding where the channel performance is, where are the gaps, what are we not doing, what should we be doing. And yeah, endless meetings.
I can just imagine because everybody's always sending a proposal.
Everybody has an idea.
Everyone has an idea.
And
And,
it's an original, right? It's
yeah,
never
and
been heard before. Yeah.
how do you deal with that? Because I know that ideas are similar, and you get like similar proposals, people wanting, or people thinking that DStv stole my idea. How do you guys deal with that?
So what happens is the importance of a submission portal is exactly that, because if you submit something, right, and then you feel that this thing here is so similar to mine, you can come to us and say, but I submitted this thing in February and I'm seeing it in October, right? You give us that reference number, we go back and then we look. But also what people need to understand is that an idea is exactly that. Some of them must be left as they are, but some of them then get executed. So I'll cite you an example. When people come and they make a submission for a wedding show, right, or a cooking show, a wedding show is a wedding show. Right? Somebody's going to prepare, somebody's going to get married, there's going to be guests, right? So it's always very tricky because somebody says, but mine had this and that. All weddings will have similar things. There will be a priest, there will be guests, there will be fight, the RSVP. So it's very difficult because people think that, but I submitted it, therefore nobody else has thought of it.
Yeah.
And the thing about our industry is that all stories are universal. Actually, globally, there's about 6 stories that you can tell. It's crime here, it's love here, it's human emotions here. So we have about 6 stories, that you can tell. The subgenre and how you derive from that is what makes something that is of a differential, which is very difficult to do at the point of submission. Because at the point of submission, you're just submitting this high thing. Then our team really goes into working how we craft the story. How does this arc work? What our audience is responding to? Things that you may not know when as you submit the thing, because you don't have the data and the research that we have.
Yeah.
So by the time this thing gets put on air, sometimes it's very different from what you actually submitted, right? Which is why then it's like, but this is the show that we make. So we make the shows. So from submission to actually the time that it gets to air, it's a very different story. But I get it that if I'm sitting there and I'm like, hey, what if somebody, Lapis Nawane, where I come from, rushes through the street and then kills somebody, and then it would be amazing. Let me write this thing. It happens all the time. Crime happens all the time. So it is difficult, but we do try to explain to people based on when they've submitted, and we look at it and then we explain to them to say, this is what is generic about your proposal, which is why, you know.
Sounds like a very tough job, but thank you so much for sharing those insights, and I hope people that watch this can will understand how TV works a bit better. So now, speaking about that, we are here today. What made you decide that what the Viewers Choice Awards need to happen and the channel needs to back it? I remember I went to the first one at the conference, was Sentin Conference Center in Joburg. Yeah, and I remember. Yes, and I remember seeing Brahu. If correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was like one of his last performances, and I was like, wow, it's so amazing that the channel got to put him on. So yeah, tell us about the DVMCA. What DMVCA? Yo, what's
DStv, Mzansi, Viewers Choice Awards,
okay.
DMVCA.
Yes. So this year, 2022, after a break, what can people expect?
I think people can expect very, very exciting performances because that's what we've been missing a lot. But I think for us, the important thing about the awards is to acknowledge both our talent and our viewers, right? Because our viewers, they stayed tuned into those onto those screens, and for them to have a night where they can interact with their with the stars is quite an important thing for us to bring the two together, because it doesn't happen all the time. Yeah. So and it's also just about we're acknowledging the craft to say you're doing well, and let's celebrate you whilst you're here.
Yeah. And I remember the last one that took place, there was a man from, I think, Tembisa, that you put, on and celebrated his life and what he's doing for the community. So this year, would you guys be doing more of that? And, can you tell us a bit about that?
So this year we will have a segment that is very viewer-centric, that is very community-centric, because we thought that that was quite a nice thing for us to do. So we will have a segment like that. But you would see that in terms of the nominees, we've actually expanded them. It includes personalities, it includes radio, because we just think that it's not just about TV, right? So we've expanded. That's why the 11 categories are the way that they are. But definitely we're going to be having something for the viewers.
Yeah. And I love parties. It's just my thing. And
It's gonna be a party.
And you just mentioned during the press conference that the last awards were actually like the last big party in SA before COVID.
Just 2 weeks before shutdown.
Yeah.
It was the 13th of April, and he closed on the 26th, I think.
Yeah.
It was literally.
I was at an event and I remember thinking to myself, this is probably going to be the last Joel for a long time. Yeah, it was. And this year you have activations around the country. Tell us about those activations and where can people catch them?
Yeah, so we're going to try and touch all the 9 provinces. And like we said in the press conference, we're going to try and not do the big malls, but we're going to try and do very community-centered malls, right? So like we're going to go to Mtantane, we're going to go to Northwest. So there's quite a few malls that we're going to be going to. But the idea is to make it as close as possible to the communities and to the people, so that when they vote from a position of knowledge and strength, and also understanding exactly what the dynamics are. Yeah.
Lastly, everybody wants to know, it's always about the money. It's always about, okay, if I win, what am I getting? And also the incentive for people that will be watching, what are they getting? So can you just, lastly, just tell us about the prizes and how much are people getting and what are people getting?
So I'm not going to be able to divulge all the prizes now, because a lot of the stuff is still work in progress with our partners. As you know, today we were announcing Telkom. We'll be announcing all the other sponsors as we go through, and then we'll announce what the prizes they're coming with is. Yeah, but no, I'm not telling you.
Ish, I was hoping for a young exclusive, to say, the DJ of there is going to get $1 million or something. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to say that you feel like people should know about the awards?
I think what is important is that DStv and Mzansi Magic, we've done our part now. We're handing over to you. The power is in your hands. You vote for who you want. These are your awards. It's a viewer's choice. So go in there and vote for who you want.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you so much and looking forward to it. Ne?
Me too.
Danke.